BMAX Audio Adventure, BJJ365. Today, I'm going to do questions from listeners. This is off of my Instagram. This is where the questions are being submitted. If you're not following me on Instagram, my handle is brandonmc.ninja. I know, crazy. It's also my website. It's also my Facebook. I also have a group, brandonmc.ninja. Trying to be consistent here. Here's the first question. This is from, I love reading people's Instagram names because you just can't pronounce them. Gmans28, Gmanz28 on Instagram. Hello, sir. Well, hello to you, Gmans. Would you recommend starting to learn BJJ under a brown belt? Is this good or bad? Yes, I would definitely recommend that. If you're new, I would recommend starting to learn BJJ under anybody, even if it's Dr. YouTube. I was a blue belt when I started teaching. Let me say this. I do think it kind of depends on the area you're in. A brown belt's basically the same thing as a black belt. I know they're not the same thing, but a brown belt is an advanced practitioner, right? If you live in an area where there's 5 jiu-jitsu schools around the corner, just pick the one that you like the atmosphere the best. Depends on your goal set too, I guess. If you're like, dude, I want to learn jiu-jitsu and become the world champion, you need to pick a school that produces world champions then, that can produce world champions. But I don't think as somebody who's starting to learn jiu-jitsu for the first time that you even know that you want to do that. Like, I don't think you know what that requires of you yet, so that wouldn't be like the criteria to select a teacher to me. To me, the most important criteria is the atmosphere that you're going to be learning in. You want it to be a healthy one. You don't want there to be like any feelings of like culty behavior. This is me. Some people like that kind of stuff, Some people need a little cult in their life. I want to run very far from that kind of behavior, so that's not me. If you don't know anything, you're a white belt, you can learn from anybody, dude. So yeah, a brown belt would be a great person to start learning jiu-jitsu under. That's my short answer. Nasty Nate Harris. That one was easy to pronounce. This is my friend Nate. I also know him in the real world, not just the Instagram lives. He says, what's a normal jiu-jitsu rule? He puts rule in quotation marks. A normal jiu-jitsu rule that you don't think really applies anymore. A normal jiu-jitsu rule that I don't think applies anymore. I can't think of a rule specifically off the top of my head, but I can tell you that I don't believe in always and never. I don't think that that's a thing that exists. I think we learn rules. I think the function of rules is to teach us principles, right? So I know I've used the illustration before of helping my children cross the road to go check the mailbox. Like in the beginning, when they're very little, they have to hold my hand. I say, we always hold Daddy's hand when we cross the road, But eventually, they walk beside me and we cross the road and we don't hold hands. And then eventually, I send them to the mailbox by themselves. So that doesn't mean that hold my hand wasn't a rule. It was a rule. But it was a rule put in place for their safety and to teach them, the importance of being safe and being cautious, being observant as they cross the street, And so I think there are a lot of things in jiu-jitsu like that. Let's take, for example, just the idea that you can't choke somebody when you're on top of their closed guard. Like, you shouldn't try to choke somebody from the top of closed guard because you'll get arm locked. Like no Ezekiel's, for instance, from the top of closed guard. But to tell you the truth, I do that all the time. I choke people inside their closed guard. I wouldn't say it happens every night, but I wouldn't say, I bet I do it 2-3 times a week, So you can definitely choke people from inside the closed guard. That might be a rule that doesn't really apply. But But it totally does apply, because it's a bad idea if you're a beginner, because you don't understand your weight distribution, your balance. You don't understand when the danger is there and you should stop doing that, you know? So there, I guess that's a terrible answer to a great question. I hope that helps Nate. Nate's a G. He's an awesome grappler, so he doesn't really need my help. He's just trying to add to the discussion here. I appreciate that, Nate. This is Josh Godar, Joshgodar. How to find out why your ribs and back hurt for people without health insurance. All right. I'll tell you, Josh Godar, why your ribs and back hurt. You're not going to like the answer. It's because you do Jiu Jitsu as a grown man. Every night, you're going out there on the mat, and another grown man's trying to kill you or crush your ribs. Until your grappling reaches a level where you don't get crushed flat on your back anymore, your ribs are not going to stop hurting. Now, you may not be injured all the time, but bro, my ribs were sore. Like, I felt like I couldn't take a full deep breath probably for the first 6 years of training. I'm just making that number up, but it felt like that, you know? So until you learn how to move your body properly, how to align yourself properly, and defend the total crushing, flat back crushing that you're getting, then, dude, your ribs are going to be sore forever. That's why they hurt. You do jiu-jitsu. That's why they hurt. All right, next question. This is from A Pulley 5, APULLEY, and the number 5. What is your opinion on Ben Askren saying that jiu-jitsu schools train inefficiently? I would have to agree with Ben for the most part. And here's the delineation of the thinking between wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Generally speaking, jiu-jitsu schools are for the average practitioner, the average guy who just wants to pick up an interesting skill set or some self-defense, generally speaking. Now, there are definitely jiu-jitsu schools whose focus is competition, breeding monsters, etc. And those schools, I don't think, are what Ben is talking about in this case. But the major delineation there is that wrestling schools, wrestling programs, wrestling clubs, let's say, they are focused on competition. Their job is to weed out the normies, to take the people who are just there recreationally and push them out of the program because they're only looking for the strong to survive. It is a process of elimination for these places, whereas jiu-jitsu is inclusive. We're trying to grab the normies and bring them in and teach them how to, step their game up to the next level, not just in grappling, but in life, how to kind of rise up and become a hard worker or become somebody who can endure difficult things. Whereas in wrestling, if you can't endure something difficult, you're not going to, it's a non-starter. So do jiu-jitsu schools train inefficiently? Yes, but that's why. And I don't mind that, by the way. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's just the difference in the goals of the two types of things. All right. Kevin SB805. He says, are there any supplements or foods that you recommend for quicker recovery from training? Dude, just drink as much water as you can. That's the main thing for me. I've done all kinds of different diets. I've been vegan. I've done all raw. I've done no carbs. I've done keto. Dude, I've done straight protein and spinach, and I've done a red hot garbage diet, which is what I'm on right now. And to tell you the truth, and I know everybody's body is different, to tell you the truth, for myself, what I find is that the only thing that really makes a difference in the way I feel is how much water I drink. And if I drink enough water, I feel great. And if I don't drink enough water, I do not feel great. And I don't perform as well. There's a significant effect on my training, on how my body feels, how my recovery goes, based on how much water I drink. So that's the number one thing that I would say. And number two, this is not a supplement or a food. I would tell you that getting in the hot tub after practice has been one of the most amazing things for recovery that I've ever done. So we bought a hot tub a couple of years, maybe like 2.5 years ago, my wife and I, 2 years ago. And, you know, we train every day, both of us. And both of us will rave about the benefits of the hot tub on muscle soreness and stiffness in your joints and stuff. So I couldn't possibly recommend the hot tub more highly. All right, that's a couple of questions. I got a bunch more. I'll hit the rest of these questions up tomorrow. And in the meantime, I want you guys to screenshot this, share it on your Instagram. Tag me, tag Toehold, TOE_HOLD. They're our sponsor for this podcast. And if you'll do that, you'll be entered to win a drawing for a free pair of flip-flops. So, man, my phone is ringing while I'm trying to do the podcast. I'm so sorry, guys. That's ultra unprofessional. Y'all deserve better than that. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to sit it off to the side. I hope the buzzing didn't distract y'all. But make sure you tag me and Toehold in that screenshot. Share it on your Instagram. You'll be entered to win, entered in the drawing to win a free pair of flip-flops. And also, I want you to go by www.10p4l.com. We got these new BJJ365 shirts there. Of course, I got a bunch of other T-shirts up on that site. I got a new little T-shirt hustle going, and it's going pretty well. So if you guys would do me the favor of going over there and checking it out, pick up a T-shirt, that would be awesome. And my website, www.brandonmc.ninja. That's where you're going to find all my classes and seminars, etc. $5 a month. Take it easy.